Running a Fever, Episode 91. Let food be thy medicine.
Today we're going to talk about, last episode we had an interview with Anasasia Strokova. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about a little medical report too. So I love my life and I want to make it last as long as possible. This is Running a Fever. If you love your life and want to make it last as long as possible, come along with me on this journey and we'll get there together. A lot of traffic. Another beautiful day in Lake Fayetteville. This is overcast. It's a Sunday. A lot of people out. And, you know, maybe they are trying to beat the rain. There's a prediction for rain coming big time. It's been raining all week. Really hard to find a time to get out. And especially when you have to do things like work and all the other things we do. So last episode, I was very fortunate to have a nutritionist on. Did an interview with Anasasia Strokova of Better Health Coach. She is a health coach and trained nutritionist. And, you know, we had an interesting conversation because, you know, we've talked about how there's so much information out there and it's really hard to figure out what's correct and what's not. And she has her opinions and they have basis in research. But there's a lot of other opinions out there with basis in research. But it was good to talk to her about that. You know, I really liked her quote from Hippocrates, "Let food be thy medicine." So, and that's just the idea that you continually trying to use food to improve your health, not just for pleasure, but to actually consciously try to make it, you know, part of your health life. And then she also talked about, you know, I asked her the question about long life because that's my focus here. And she mentioned this book about what they call blue zones, places like, you know, you have this little town in Italy, you know, where everybody lives to be 104, something like that. And so the author of this book has studied places like this. She mentioned Japan. And there's actually a whole book about this in Icaria, Greece. You know, so I mean, naturally, people want to live longer, so they're going to study these things. What are some of the things that cause these people to be able to live longer on a statistically average basis? Tell me if any of these sound familiar. Spirituality, faith, family, being close with your family, having a network of people around you who support you. Basically having good people in your life. Movement. What are we doing right now? We are moving. Exercise. Passion. Having a reason to be alive. Having a reason to want to live longer. That's something I haven't really talked a whole lot about on here, but kind of makes sense to me. How you doing? Not overeating. And she said, when your stomach is 80% full, that's when you stop eating.
How do you know that?
I don't know. I guess it's just how you feel. You know, we don't have like a fuel meter like you have on your gas gauge on your vehicle. So you just have to kind of guess by how you feel, I guess. And, you know, I find when I do that, it often feels like, well, I haven't had enough yet. But when I stop earlier, you know, later, I feel completely full, satisfied. So it's kind of, I've heard people talk about a delay, like a 20-minute delay or something.
You should eat slow.
Eat slow, which you're getting better at. I'm just always the last one to finish usually, so yeah, you can beat me. You know, she, of course, she is an definitely anti-dairy. I don't think it's fair to call her anti-meat, but she's a vegan, recommends plant-based diet. So she really hit on that point in the book that these people in these places also have more plant-based food. They don't eat meat except on special occasions. And I can attest to that. I lived in Japan for a while, and
Fish.
yeah, you got fish. You eat more fish, but beef, I mean, it was a flavoring. It wasn't like, you know, in the United States, you get a 12 ounce, 16 ounce, whatever, you get a huge steak, right? They didn't do that. No, the meal is mostly rice, and you have some flavoring and some, you know, sprinkled, kind of like you might sprinkle on a salad here or something. But not the main source of food. So she was really, you know, hitting that hard because that's her whole thing, you know, plant-based food. I don't know, to me, it kind of seems extreme, not quite as balanced as I would go for. But how y'all doing this morning? And alcohol is okay. I mean, most of these cultures, they may have a glass of wine. The Mediterranean diet. Icaria, that's why there's a whole book about it. Because it's the latest fad. Okay, the Mediterranean diet. I have to look into that. And I hear this all the time. You know, I mean, one of the things Anasasia said was, you know, there's no quick fix. When you hear that, don't believe it. I mean, if you've been listening to the show, you know the process I've been through, and I'm still working on it, and it's not easy. It takes dedication of time to figure these things out and try them, and so that's the thing. Every diet comes out, and it's like, oh yeah, everybody get on this diet, and somebody recommended one to me the other day. Check out the Atkins diet. And okay. But it seems like to me, the theme of this whole Blue Zones thing is that these people are living balanced lives. I mean, not just having a good diet, but they've got support, they've got social engagements, they have good people in their lives. They have a spiritual or faith program to relieve stress and connect with something that has more power, that gives them more power. They have strong connections to their family. You know, it's love. It's not, it's, you know, it's based on mutual giving and receiving, and with family, you have unconditional love. I'm going to get too much to that, but apparently these guys don't need to work. I mean, that's I don't know about that. I'm going to read the book. I've ordered the book, but work, I don't know. But stress relief is definitely a thing. You got to find a way to relieve that stress. So I don't know. I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know, do they just garden all day? What do they do? And how is it people who just they've got an easy life or something? I doubt it. I doubt there's probably something more to that, and that's a really good question I need to figure out. I wouldn't think.
Usually Americans do.
I mean, I wouldn't think if you're doing all these other things and have a balanced life, it's going to be part of it, I would think, but not. It can't be, you know, an obsession. You know. How you doing?
Morning.
So anyway, I'm gonna post a link to the book on the webpage and the YouTube and the show notes, runningfever.com, and go ahead and comment. Let me know how you feel about that. So, good interview, and by the way, that was my first episode. Now, I've had a couple of episodes with video. I think 3 or 4 with actually video, although one of them was just a short video. But this one is the first one with me actually on camera, not just narrating, but actually there. So, kind of nervous about that, but you know, it's out there. Just like everything. Everything about this show is just like, here it is. So, you know, the other thing I wanted to do is just give you a medical update. I did have a couple of medical visits in the last week. First one was I did see the neurosurgeon one last time, and he'd already told me if physical therapy is working on your dish issue, if the traction is working, then you just continue that. Surgery is an option, but he recommended against it, maybe prompted by the fact that I don't like to have unnecessary surgery. There's all kinds of complications from that could happen. So it was about a 30-second maximum visit. So a little over $1 a second from my point of view. And that's just the co-payment. But you know, you got to check in. You got to do that. Got to get him to sign off on that. So yeah, I feel like I'm improving there, but it's very incremental. Very small changes. It's kind of hard to notice that. But you know, today, you know, I've still got something going on in my arm, and I can tell it's there, but it's not what it was before. It had been improving before I even started to see Dr. Knox, but now it's better. So I need to continue that, and it's hard because even like my home activities, that takes probably half an hour or more. The traction takes, you know, if I did it twice a day for 20 minutes, you know, it's 40 minutes. So we're talking about a lot of time here in my life, and that's difficult. It's difficult to get up 20 minutes earlier to do the traction, to go to bed, because a lot of times that's it. You get up, you're like, well, I need to sleep. That's important. I got to do this. It's not something that you can just do. You got to do it continually and consistently. So anyway, that's the plan. Got to keep remembering that health is my number one priority because everything else depends on it. The other visit I had was to my general practitioner, family doctor. And, you know, I had some skin lesions I was dealing with, and I found out that some of this has to do with being overweight. You know, I've got some stuff under my arms, and it's like, you know, you need to walk around like Arnold Schwarzenegger with his arms all out. And I'm like, you know, I wonder if, you know, being overweight and being in the opposite condition all the time had something to do with it. And he said, yeah, this is probably left over from before you lost the weight. So just be aware of that. It's always important to have these things checked out. I know it seems like a little thing, but if you do have a problem, if it's cancer or something like that, definitely need to attack it early. I also talked to him about a couple times I've been asked if I had trouble swallowing. I used to have acid reflux, and the reason that they tell you to go to your doctor, you know, not to use it more than 2 weeks unless a doctor approves it, is because you need to know if there's scar tissue building up. And the symptom of that is it's difficult to swallow. And so they have to deal with that. Another thing is that obviously a throat tumor could be a problem. So anyway, I was seeing him about that. I had a little occasional trouble with that. Might have to do with this huge fish oil pill that I take every day. So the next step is to get smaller pills and don't take the whole gram of fish oil all at once. So anyway, that's the update for this episode. We continue to walk on the Lake Fayetteville Trail Park boundary. private property beyond the sign, so we're not going to go there. It's been great talking to you as we walk along, and don't forget to keep the fever, and I will talk to you next time.
This is the Padua Podcast Network. PaduaMedia.com.